here is Dana Bash from CNN. She's at a book event. Whose book event was this?
It's for her book. She's on a bit of a.
She's on a book tour, and who else is she with there? I think she's with somebody else, or she's being interviewed by somebody. I don't know. Where is this? Is this in Washington?
Yeah, it's the Politics and Prose bookstore.
All right. Yes. And here are there were actually two protesters in the audience, one after the other, and listen to this.
She reports. After World War II, every single journalist that was complicit in their war crimes was charged. You belong behind bars. You belong behind bars. We know who you are. We know what you're saying. It's not a war. It's never been a war. It is ethnic cleansing. It is genocide. There are children getting bombed after. You are complicit in the genocide. Do you understand that when you tweeted 5 days ago about the hostages, that there are over 10,000 political prisoners in Israeli death camps? They are concentration camps for Palestinians. And you are complicit in all of those deaths. You know, I think therefore I dare ask her why she's telling lies on public air every single day. At 5 p.m. every single day, this wire gets on national TV. National TV, and she spreads lies. Every single time she lies, a neighborhood and wasn't right. She is killing people. You know you are. Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes. Yeah, of course I don't. Tell me that you deserve it.
Take your mask off.
Take your mask off.
That's so funny. Righteous. All right, pause it for 1 second. So she is ushered out. Not after, I think Dana Bash says, take your mask off, which is also interesting because there has been such a long history in the context of people protesting against this over the past year of people being doxxed for protesting, and people are wearing their masks. Now, there's also happens to be a spike in COVID stuff, but I suspect that that person's wearing that mask for the very reason why Dana Bash wants her to take it off, which is we can try and make your life miserable.
Counties are literally making it illegal, including Long Island's Nassau County, which blue state, but they have, but it's turning red over there on Long Island. They have made their first arrest for somebody in public wearing a mask. Now, they said it's because he had a bulge in his pants and he ended up being someone who was carrying a knife. But they wouldn't have had the pretext to make said arrest if this mask ban wasn't in place.
It's a new probable cause.
All right, continue on. Because after that person is ushered out, another protester steps up.
Friends have been dying in Gaza, and you have not been reporting it. You call yourself a good journalist, report the truth, but instead you want millions from Zionists. You want millions from AIPAC. You're taking millions and you're living in that house all alone. That multi-million-dollar house. You're taking it to spew lies about the Palestinian people. You lie about amputees. You lie about people who have been bombed in hospitals. You lie about the students in the encampments. They are just trying to exercise their free speech to help their family and friends back home. We have tried to sit with politicians day after day and they don't listen to us. And meanwhile, our family and friends are dying. What else are we supposed to do if this was happening to your family?
Now, there are some people who are claiming that it was anti-Semitic.
Of course.
For this protester to say they are taking AIPAC money. Now, let's be clear. AIPAC does not advocate on behalf of Jews. AIPAC advocates on behalf of Israel. Being Jewish does not mean you are Israeli. Being Jewish does not mean that you support Israel.
Being a Zionist does not mean you're a Jew. Joe Biden proudly declares himself to be a Zionist.
Where I'm from, Michelle Bachmann is a Zionist.
Right.
Here you have Yair Rosenberg. Is he the guy from the Atlantic Monthly? Let's be clear on what happening. A masked person yells, and when I saw that, this is how I actually saw the video, and I'm like, oh my God, is this somebody who's got like one of those like things? No, it's somebody who's wearing literally a balaclava.
But how scary.
Literally wearing a not even an N95 mask.
If you're yelling indoors, good on you.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Exactly.
This isn't Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
Yells at a Jewish CNN journalist that she's taking millions from AIPAC.
They wouldn't
Now, first off, we don't have any evidence that this person knows that Dana Bash is Jewish. Be that as it may, Wolf Blitzer literally worked for AIPAC. I believe Jake Tapper is also Jewish. I don't know if I don't know about Cooper Anderson. I don't know.
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
Wolf Blitzer still regularly broadcasts for CNN from Tel Aviv. Has been doing that recently.
Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are Jewish. I don't believe Anderson Cooper is.
It's not like there's other people like they skipped Wolf Blitzer's or Anderson Cooper's book tour and yelled at her. She has been also, I think, like in terms of like just based upon what videos that they're not out there in front of Christian Amanpour saying this, but it's not because she's not Jewish. So he says, taking millions of AIPACs using the money to buy her house. This is an anti-Semitic Mad Libs using Israel as a flimsy pretext to try and hound Jews out of the public square. This is just so offensive that this mofo is doing this, is characterizing it this way. It is disgusting. It's disgusting.
How do you get ahead of the Atlantic? I mean, I just want to point out, like, one of their biggest writers, Ta-Nehisi Coates, wrote a very, like, thoughtful piece about Uncommitted and Palestinian rights. Do you know where it was not published? It was not published in the Atlantic. It was published in Vanity Fair. Do I think that that's a coincidence? Why would the Atlantic not want one of their most well-known writers?
Why would Jeffrey Goldberg
to have his piece go elsewhere to another publication?
Do you guys remember where Jeffrey Goldberg worked before he entered the media space? I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was an Israeli prison guard.
Yes.
So I'm sure that he's doing he's helping out his boss here and getting ahead.
On top of which, let's be clear, we are 5 months out from stories in the media that CNN was facing a backlash from its own staff over editorial policies that they felt were just completely taken from the Israeli propaganda.
It was a mass internal dissent led by Amanpour, as you're saying, Sam.
Yep.
She was apparently, The Intercept reported this a few months ago, was one of the more vocal people for the rest of the staff at the company that were uncomfortable with the extreme pro-Israel bias that the network was on, that was displaying. And Dana Bash in particular, why she's being targeted, like, do I think she should be locked up? I don't agree with that, right? But I do agree with the sentiment in terms of protesting the coverage, because I just this morning rewatched a clip that people were recirculating. Pramila Jayapal,
I was just going to bring this one up too.
Came and said something about how the Palestinians, we have to have empathy or sympathy for their suffering a few months into the genocide. And Dana Bash got all upset and said, like, oh, I don't see Palestinians raping Israelis. Oh, really? You don't see it?
No, Israelis rape other way, right?
Oh, sorry.
You don't see Israelis rape.
That was material support for a
say.
genocide. I mean, whether or not we prosecute this or you go to The Hague, that should be understood as material support for a genocide. And there's so much like Radio Rwanda shit going on with regards to that. Like Emma just said, like that is propaganda to enable what's happened since.
Yep.
Because she was wrong, though.
Because Jayapal was basically saying, just as you said, offering tacit, like, just broad-based support against Palestinian suffering. And she was like, I take your point, but, Israelis aren't raping Palestinians.
And now,
whoopsie.
Now we know it's actually, it's not just that, like, there was rape of Palestinians. It's actually systemic in their prisons and their torture camps. And in fact, within Israeli society, there's right now a public debate on whether or not rape is a legitimate form of deterrence for Palestinians.
But it was never about that. It was about a warrant to ethnically cleanse
well,
people.
you know what she did though? Like, this is colonial propaganda about the savages on the other side being unable to control themselves and being rapist men that are coming after their pure women in Israel. That is what she engaged in, and there's been no correction. So if Dana Bash wants to respond to this in a way that makes sense, she can go on her program and say, hey, I'd like to issue a correction to my previous statement with Representative Pramila Jayapal, where I basically accused her of having a bias against Israelis by saying that there was no rape that Israelis inflicted upon the Palestinian people. She could dispel those notions tomorrow if she chose to go on her program and did that, but she doesn't. And that's what the protesters are calling out when they go and protest her event.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.